Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Early Morning Core. I'm your host, and we are currently recording at 3:04 a.m. I'll be honest, today I really was planning on doing a movie review of Bring Her Back, but I did not get a chance to rewatch it. Instead, I ended up watching Death of Unicorn with Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega in it, which is a good movie. I do recommend watching that. But that's not what we're going to be doing. I told you guys what I was going to cover this week, so I didn't feel like I shouldn't stray from that path too much. So you guys might be getting another bonus episode instead of a legitimate review, at least until tomorrow. So yeah, we are going to be doing Reddit r/nosleep. It is it's honestly just me being lazy at this point. So yeah, I hope that you got your coffee or your tea or your energy drink or whatever it is you may need. I know I've got my whole pot of coffee sitting on this desk with me, and I'm probably gonna drink it all because my throat is really dry. Oh, I can be an ASMR podcast at this point. Alright, our first story. I moved to a French village for a man I met online. The village isn't on any map. I'm typing this from his study. The Wi-Fi cuts every 10 minutes, and I don't know if this will post. If you're reading this, I need you to know my name and where I am in case I don't make it out tonight. His name is Mark. Dating app 2 years ago, I was in Brooklyn. He was somewhere in the French countryside, west of Paris. Sunset over a stone wall in his profile pic. Glass of wine, and I don't know. There was something lonely about him. I recognized it. I swiped right. He messaged first. We FaceTime every night for 2 years. Every single night. Copper pots behind him, dusk through the kitchen window. He looked like an ad for the life I wanted. He'd remember things I mentioned once at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday and bring them up weeks later with the date memorized. I thought that meant he loved me. I need to tell you about me so you understand why he chose me. I'm 28, half Cape Verdean. I don't even know what that is. Half American. Grew up behind a wall in Riyadh. 30 identical houses, 30 identical lawns. Boarding school in Geneva at 13. College in New York. I speak 3 languages and none of them sound like me. My whole life I've been whoever the room needed. The closeted kid in Saudi. The fluent fraud in Geneva. The guy eating cereal for dinner at an apartment he can't afford. Alone. Mark saw through all of it. Or I thought he did. He'd say, "Tell me something nobody knows." And then just sit there on the screen, not reacting, not performing back at me, and I'd end up telling him things I'd never said out loud. About my father, about David, the boy I loved at 16 who I couldn't tell anyone about because of where we lived. About how I set an alarm at 6 and hit snooze until 7:30 because the sound of the alarm is the only proof that a new day started. Stupid things, real things. 2 years of this, 15 days together in person total. And then I gave up my apartment, packed 12 boxes, and flew to France. He picked me up at Charles de Gaulle. Probably did not read that right, but still, I'm sure it's some sort of airport. When I came through arrivals and saw him standing by that battered Peugeot, I walked fast. Not a run. My bag was heavy and my legs were shaking. He met me halfway, pulled me in. One of those hugs where your whole body goes quiet for a second. I pressed my face into his neck and he smelled like coffee and wool, and I just stood there breathing him in while taxis honked behind us. Oh god, there's some French in here, I think. He said, T.S. Lao, or, yeah. And I said, I almost didn't get on the plane. And he said, but you did. He kissed me. Hard. Hands on my jaw. On a late night call 2 years ago, I had described my perfect first kiss. This was it. Exactly. The drive was an hour west of Paris, the A13, then smaller roads, then smaller ones. At some point, the GPS died. Signal lost. Route calculation unavailable. Mark said we didn't need it. He knew the way. I checked my phone. No signal. The dashboard clock said 2:47. My phone said 4:12. Nearly 90 minutes difference. I figured the phone lost its time sync. The road narrowed, trees pressing in on both sides, branches scraping the mirrors. The light went gray-green, filtered through canopy too thick for July. Then the village appeared. 1 second trees, the next second stone, like it had been waiting. Rapidly, 60 buildings, maybe 70, dark granite, half-timbered facades. Facades. I clearly can't read. Slate roofs, flower boxes on every window, every flower the exact same shade of pink, a fountain, a church tower, mist in the lanes. It was beautiful. It was silent, not quiet, nothing. No children, no dogs, no radio, no wind. I could hear the car's engine cooling. I could hear the fountain. That was it. Mark said, that's what's special about it, and drove to his house on the eastern edge where the buildings and the forest begins. The house was beautiful too. Old stone, thick walls. Inside it smelled like bread and lavender and something underneath. Wet stone. Something underneath the whetstone. I'm not going to describe every room because I don't have time, but you need to know about the photographs. On the mantle, Mark hiking, Mark cooking, Mark on a mountain ridge at sunset. Every photo, just Mark. Self-timer, he said. Tripod. When you live alone long enough, you learn to document yourself. I picked up the mountain photo. The shadows on his face were wrong, falling from the left, but the sun was setting on the right, and in the corner, barely visible, a second set of footprints in the snow leading to where Mark stands. No footprints leading away. He showed me the bedroom. Low ceiling, white linen, the pillow on my side, left side, my preferred side, was already dented, like someone had been sleeping there in my shape. Uh, so this guy's either married or sleeps wherever on that bed, I guess. He showed me the bedroom, low ceiling, white linen, the pillow on my side, left side, my preferred side, was already dented, like someone had been sleeping there in my shape. Home, he whispered into my hair. His hand was on the back of my neck. You're home now. When he touched my face, his hand was cool. Not cold, but not warm either, like touching a wall. I leaned into it anyway. That first night he asked me about my day, the flight, the terminal, everything. The gate agent almost made me miss it, I said. Tell me about her, he said. He was sitting close, close enough that I could feel his breath. I want to know everything about today, everything. So I did. And every time I stopped, he'd ask something that pulled me back in. Not, how did that feel, but what did the tarmac smell like? And what was the exact sound of the boarding announcement? I talked for an hour. He just sat there the whole time, not moving, watching me like I was the most interesting thing he'd ever seen. While I talked, his eyes changed. His pupils got huge, not from the light, they opened with my voice. black swallowing the brown. When I stopped talking, they shrank back. When I started again, they opened, like breathing. After I fell asleep, I half woke up and felt his. I'm sorry, forgot to turn off my alarms. Oh, that scared me. Okay. After I fell asleep, I half woke up and felt his hand in my hair. Same stroke, same pressure, over and over, exactly the same each time. A loop. I put my hand on his chest. It rose and fell perfectly, but there was no heartbeat, just a vibration. The hum of something running in the walls, the sound a refrigerator makes, the sound of machinery. I told myself I was tired. Jet lag. New bed. You tell yourself whatever you have to at 3 a.m. when the other option is getting up and leaving and having nowhere to go. Later that week, I woke up at 4 a.m. Mark was on his back, eyes wide open, fixed on the ceiling, unblinking. His lips were twitching, fast, making shapes that weren't words in any language. I know. This low sound coming out of him, almost static, but shaped, like syllables. I touched his shoulder and he snapped awake. Not gradually, not with the confusion of sleep. Instant. A smile assembled itself on his face. Can't sleep? He said. Another night, I looked out the bedroom window at 3 a.m., and Mark was standing in the garden, 20 meters from the tree line, arms at exactly the same angle from his body. A moth landed on his forearm, crawled up to his face, over his eye. He didn't blink. Then his head started to rotate toward the window. Just his head. Shoulders didn't move. 20 degrees, 30, past where a neck should bend. When it faced me, it was still smiling. I hit the light switch, looked back, gone. A perfect circle of dead grass where he'd been standing. Bedroom door opened behind me. Mark, pajamas, glass of water, hair mussed. He couldn't have gotten there that fast. You were outside, I said. In the garden. Your head was. I was in the kitchen. His voice was soft, concerned. I couldn't sleep. You were sleeping so beautifully, I didn't want to wake you. He stepped closer. Why would I go outside, in the dark, when you're here? And it sounded right. It sounded so right that I almost started crying because what if I imagined it? What if I was already losing my mind? He touched my face, cool hand. Let's go back to bed. I can hear him moving around downstairs. The roads loop. I went for a walk on day 3, past the fountain, past the bakery, past the church, out the southern road, 20 minutes. The road curves, the trees thin, open sky, then rooftops, a church tower, the village square. I was back. I had walked in a straight line. I tried again, marked a tree with a scratch from a rock, walked 15 minutes the other way, open sky ahead, and then I emerged into the square. My scratch was on a tree at the edge of the square. The forest had moved. I told Mark. He smiled. The roads know where they go, he said. He put a plate in front of me. Crepe au Sauterson perfect. Every path leads home. Also, I'm sorry if I say any of this stuff wrong. I do not know French in the least. Okay, I'm not somebody that is good with languages. I can barely speak English. The village isn't on any map. I searched from the study. One bar of Wi-Fi, typed rapidly Calvados, and got a census page. Population 44. Okay. Tried Rapidly Village, France. Nothing. Rapidly Calvados directions. Nothing. Page loads. Sits there. Times out. I tried BBC. Loaded fine. Read it. Fine. Anything about this place specifically just stops. We're not on the map, Mark said. It's ours. Our own world. The villagers smile. All of them. The same smile. Same crinkle at the eyes. Same slight part of the lips. The old man on the bench, the woman sweeping her doorstep, the baker, like they all learned from the same photograph. One morning, I watched a fly land on the baker's eye. It crawled across his iris. He didn't blink. He was still smiling at the closed door after I left. I went for a walk one night at 2 a.m. because I couldn't sleep. The square was empty, every window dark, every door closed. And then at dawn, they were simply there, between one second and the next. The old man on the bench, the woman mid-sweep, like a game loading from a saved state. Mark threw me a dinner party. The four guests arrived at the exact same moment, walking in unison, footsteps hitting the cobblestone's rhythm. One of them ate dessert. I watched his jaw work as he raised the fork, but when his mouth opened for the next bite, the previous one was still there, unchewed, dry. That's just gross. Every embrace at the door was the same duration, 3 seconds. I counted. One more thing about the dinner. When one of the guests, Pierre, asked me, "De quoi vous avez peur?" or "What are you afraid of?" the table went still. All four of them turned their heads toward me, not all at once, in sequence. Their smiles didn't change. Yeah, I'd be getting freaked out at this point. I can't stand so much smiling because I'm thinking of the movie Smile is how I'm imagining these people smile. I found Mark's laptop one day while he was out, empty. No files, no folders, no browser history. It had never been connected to the internet. It was a prop. The whole room was a prop. In the bottom drawer of his desk, I found a pencil drawing. A man's face with the sharp cheekbones and dark eyes. Under it, in tight handwriting, Thomas, first attempt, 1878. Huh. The journals. I have to tell you about the journals. Wi-Fi dropped again. My hands won't stop shaking. Attic, cardboard box, soft with damp, dozens of notebooks, all Mark's handwriting. The first page, subject E. Marsh, preliminary observations. That's me. E. Presents as anxious, avoidant with strong people pleasing tendencies. Third culture kid profile. Cape Verdean American, raised in Riyadh, Geneva, Brooklyn. Adaptive personality architecture across all three. He becomes what each environment requires. This makes him exceptionally responsive to sustained attention and active listening. He is not accustomed to being the focus. Dietary: coffee, black, one sugar. Comfort foods: rice and beans. Mothers: grilled cheese, childhood. Aversion to raw tomato, textural. Sleep patterns: left side dominant. Deep sleep begins approximately 45 minutes after closing eyes. During deep sleep, he is unreachable. Psychological profile: primary wound, first romantic attachment at 16, male, name, David K. Relationship concealed due to environment, Ryad. He believes love requires hiding. He will tolerate extraordinary dysfunction in exchange for the feeling of being fully known. Leverage point. Oh, God. Okay. Attraction profile: responsive to competence, domesticity, and focused attention. Physical type: broader build, dark features, manual confidence. Note: deep body shame. Will interpret physical acceptance as proof of love. Exploit. Oh god, this is a freaking Pokedex of weaknesses and stuff for you, dude. The notes go back years, before we matched, before we ever spoke. Printed screenshots of my Instagram, annotated in red ink. My walking route, time-stamped. He knew my coffee order, my thread count. He practiced the crepes. He ordered the lavender soap from Bio because I mentioned once at 11:22 p.m. on November 14th that I liked lavender. Every single detail. I thought I was sharing for the first time he had already had in a notebook. He didn't remember because he loved me. He remembered because he was studying me. Every FaceTime call was data collection, and I just sat there in my underwear on my unmade bed giving him everything because nobody had ever bothered to ask. I broke into the basement that night. The padlock was new, brass against ancient wood, 3 strikes with a hammer wrapped in a towel. Stone steps, narrow. The air changed with each step down, got thick, warm, body temperature warm. It tasted like iron and dirt and something sweet. I didn't want to think about it. The basement is larger than the house above it. The beams aren't wood. They branch and join like roots, like veins. When I pressed my hand against one, it was warm, moving, barely. On the far wall, carvings, older than the house by millennia. Humanoid figures surrounding a central image, a large circle containing a smaller circle, tendrils extending in every direction. Below, in crude Latin, Ni sibum tuam amet. I typed it into my phone's translation app. It gave me 2 options: do not love your food, or do not let your food love you. Against the wall, belongings, 42 collections, suitcases, backpacks, trunks, each tagged with a handwritten label. Emily Garnier, 1834 to 1851. Thomas Hargreaves, 1878 to 1891. Sophia Johansson, 1912 to 1923. Marie Claire Beaumont, the Beaumonts, 1952 to 1964. Colette Favre, 1971 to 1983. Yuki Tanaka, 2003 to 2009. Kareem Osman, 2022 to 2024. And next to Kareem's collection, a blank tag. Elliot Marsh, 2024 to present. My hands started shaking. I opened Kareem's bag, a rainbow flag keychain, a hand-knitted scarf with uneven tension and drop stitches, a copy of Giovanni's Room with the spine cracked at page 112, a Polaroid, Kareem, 24, dark eyes, a gap between his front teeth, wearing the scarf, and Mark, same face, same smile, on the back, in blue pen. Day 30, I think I might stay forever. I do not know where this story is going. This is out of a movie. This is good. Well, maybe not good for Mark, but near the floor, fingernail scratches in stone. Aide the Moy, help me. It can hear you. Don't tell it your name. I tried to leave the basement. The door stuck. Wouldn't move. 5 seconds of my breath loud against stone. Then it gave, sudden and easy, like it was never stuck, like something had been holding it shut and decided to let go. I put the journal on the kitchen table the next night, open to leverage point. He looked at it. His face went through something: surprise, then concern, then something like guilt, then back to concern, each one lasting exactly the right amount of time, like he was trying them on. Those are notes, he said, from a long time ago, when I was trying to understand attachment. Bowlby Ainsworth sounds clinical because it is clinical, but it's not. Will tolerate extraordinary dysfunction in exchange for being. Shoot, let me read this. Will tolerate extraordinary dysfunction in exchange for feeling fully known. I read. Leverage point in all caps. Noting, for a long time, nothing. God, I've got to get this together. Nothing. For a long time, nothing. I should have written it differently, he said. I was cold. I should have written the thing that hurt him most. Bullshit. The beach, I said. Jeddah, with my father. You. My voice stopped. You told me that memory last week like it was mine. He didn't move. I've never been to a beach with my father in Jeddah. My mother took me. We watched planes. 1 second of nothing. His face just went out, like I was looking at a wall, something with no rooms behind it. Does it matter? He said. His voice was flat. You remember the beach. You remember being loved on the beach. I gave you that. Does it matter whose father was holding your hand? He told me what he is that night, or tried to. I'm old, he said, but the word came out wrong, layered. His voice and a woman's voice. Sorry. I set my alarms 15 minutes separated, and I usually turn them off. And before the next one goes off, I'm going to go ahead and go turn that off because this is embarrassing. That is twice now, and I'm sure it's probably louder in the video than I would like it to be. Okay, back to it. I'm old, he said, but the word came out wrong, layered. His voice, and a woman's voice, and something underneath both of them. His French broke apart mid-sentence and a child's voice came through singing something I didn't recognize. His mouth kept moving. I could see him fighting to get back to his own voice. I have been 3 languages at once, then silence. He was breathing hard, like he'd pulled himself back from drowning. I can't leave it, he said. Just bark again. Mostly, I am it. The roads, the houses, the people, they're me. All of it is me. You're eating me, I said. Not. His voice cracked. Something underneath it, something old pushing through. Not eating. When you tell me about the feeling, he stopped, breathed. When he spoke again, it was Mark, mostly. When you tell me about your day, the warmth of it, the ache, the relief of being seen, I take that. Gradually, every night, the vividness fades. You become flat. When there's nothing left, you just go out. He said he didn't want to consume me. He wanted me to stay, willingly. And while he said and while he said it, he looked at me with this expression that I don't know. It could have been love. Or it could have been something he learned from the 42 people before me who thought they loved him back. I said, okay. I took his hand. I let him walk me upstairs. Each step creaked under me, but not for him. Halfway up, I looked back, and the living room was dark, fire out, and from up there, the furniture didn't look like furniture anymore. It looked like the inside of something. I don't know how else to say it, like I was standing inside a body. I got into bed, his arm wrapped around me. Cool, the same temperature as the walls. I've been starving him for 9 days. Every night he says, tell me about your day, and I say, fine. Read. Came to bed, that's it. Nothing he can use, and the village is dying. The flower boxes went brown first, then the fountain water got thick, almost syrupy. The baker's smile is stuck now, one corner lifting and falling and lifting, like a broken gif. Henry has been sitting in his truck for 3 days. Engine catches, idles, cuts out, catches again. A spider built a web between his wrist and the steering column, and he hasn't moved to break it. The old man on the bench closed his eyes 2 days ago. Hasn't opened them, but the smile is still there, smiling with nothing behind it. He told me he is the village. I didn't get what that meant until I watched it starve with him. The baker, Henry, the old man, they're not people. They're his fingers, and I'm watching them go numb, one by one. He can't leave this place to find someone else. He can't make me talk. He has to be loved into it. That's all he knows how to do. So the only weapon I have is not loving him back. I had a memory yesterday. My apartment in Brooklyn, eating cereal, waiting for Mark to call. I could see it perfectly. The bowl, the counter, the way my phone screen would light up, but I couldn't feel any of it. That flutter you get when someone's about to call and you know they're going to ask about your day and actually want the answer? Gone. I can picture the room, but the feeling's been scooped out of it. I can describe it, but I can't be in it anymore. 2 days ago, I looked in the bathroom mirror while brushing my teeth and my reflection lagged. Just for a second, my mouth moved and the mirror followed, a half beat after, like a bad FaceTime connection. I blinked. It synced back up. I told myself it was exhaustion. Then this morning, I looked in the mirror and my reflection glitched. One frame, less than a second, Kareem's face, dark eyes, gap between the teeth, then mine again. I gripped the sink until my knuckles went white. Day 6. I found a woman sitting in the cemetery, behind the church, Colette. She was the only one in the village who didn't smile. Her tag in the basement said 1971 to 1983. 12 years. She got out. I don't know how or why she came back. She told me the roads open when the entity breaks. Between 3 and 5 in the morning, when the village sleeps, take nothing, walk, don't stop. Why did you come back? I asked. She looked at the church tower. My daughter came after me. She's still here. That was all she said about it. Some of the feelings will come back, she said. Not all, never all. I asked her how many feelings came back. Enough to get through the day, she said. Not enough to want to. I'm going to try tonight. 3 a.m. The Southern Road. I have my passport in my back pocket. No bag, nothing. That belonged to this house. Mark is downstairs. I can hear him in the kitchen, but he hasn't cooked in days. There's nothing to cook. There's a bowl in the fridge with something gray in it, blue veins running through. The wine went to vinegar. The bread tastes like nothing. He keeps asking me to talk. Not the ritual, just anything. He's not performing anymore. He's starving. Part of me wants to go down there. I got as far as the study door, hand on the knob. I could hear him in the kitchen opening the fridge, the hum of nothing inside it. Tell me something, he called up. Just his voice. Please, anything. The bird you watched this morning, the sky, anything. His voice cracked on the please. Not fake, really cracking. I opened the door. I was on the first step before I stopped myself because I remember what it felt like to have someone's full attention, to be asked about my day by someone who actually wanted the answer. And I knew if I sat at that table and told him about the bird, the 3 notes it sang, I wasn't getting back up. Just like Kareem, just like Colette's daughter. I went back to the study, closed the door. Downstairs, Mark stopped moving. I knew it was fake. I know he's been doing this for 200 years, but my body doesn't care. My stupid, lonely body felt it, and it doesn't care that the thing feeling it back wasn't human. I don't know if the roads will open tonight. I don't know if there's enough of me left to walk them. Wi-Fi just flickered. I'm going to type fast. If the connection holds, then someone knows my name is Elliot Marsh. Oh. I'm in a village called Rapilly, somewhere west of Paris, and a man named Mark is going to ask me about my day one more time. I'm not going to answer. Wait, he's coming up the stairs. I can hear them creaking, slowly, one at a time. He's outside the study door. I can see the shadow in the gap underneath. It's not moving, just standing there. He's whispering, in my voice, the night I told him about David, played back through the door. I've never told anyone that before. I've never told anyone that before on a loop. If I don't post again, check the basement. Look for the bag with my name on it. There won't be much inside. Wow. Uh, that was insane, dude. Holy hell, that took me 33 minutes to read. Oh, yep. Time to drink some coffee. Yeah, my throat got dry reading that. Holy hell. That was a lot. That was a lot to read. Should we read one more? Let's see. Hmm. Let's see. Okay. Huh. Hmm, let's see. Okay, let's read this one. It says, okay, this one's not that long either. Not either, but it's not that long. I mean, okay, from r/nosleep, from Casey did no harm. I worked the night shift in a near remote 5-star resort. Recently, strange things have been happening. I work night shifts in a near remote 5-star resort. I have worked here for over 2 years and had recently transferred to the night shift because it paid better. For the past few days, strange things have been happening. Before I start my account on what's happening over the past 4 days, I'd like to mention that the names of places and people in this post have been changed for privacy reasons. I am in an Asian country, not one of the glamorous ones, but I'm not a native. The names you see here have been anglicized. Angli- fuck. Anglicized. November 5th, 2025. At around 2 in the morning, the music in the lobby had turned off for some reason. Ethan went to check, but couldn't turn it back on. We'd already finished most of the jobs for the night, so I decided to take a drive around the property in the golf cart. The resort was less than half full, so a couple of the buildings had no guests in them. As I drove past Building 2, which was closed because of the low occupancy, I saw a light on the fifth floor. I decided to check. As I had the master key with me, I got to the fifth floor and checked the room in which I had seen the light in 2508. The room was empty and dark, and didn't have a key card inserted into the socket inside, and hence no electricity. I chalked it up to one of the late night technicians checking something and went back to my drive. On my way back, I passed Building 2 again, and the light was still on. I went to check again, and same thing. This time, though, opened the door and went inside. I slid a key card into the socket and the lights clicked back on. I inspected the room for anything out of the ordinary. Nothing. I took the key card out. The light stayed on. It took a few seconds for it to turn off. Right before the light flicked off, I saw a figure in the balcony of the room, looking outwards. Confused, I put a key card back in the socket and went to the balcony. Nothing. I finished up there and went back to the reception. On my way back, the golf cart felt heavier, as if someone was sitting in the back seat. I didn't mind it as much then. When I was back, the music was back on. I asked Ethan how he managed to fix the speakers, and he shot me a look of confusion. I admit there's a language barrier here. Ethan's English is no better than my command over the local language, so I didn't think too much of it. Nothing happened for the rest of the night. I finished up my shift at 8 o'clock and went to bed around 8:30. November 6th, 2025. It was another slow day. I was done with my reports around 2:30. I was browsing YouTube shorts on my phone trying to keep boredom at bay. Usually I'd listen to horror podcasts or creepypastas during this time, but I didn't feel like it that day. Uh, Sorry. As I was scrolling through, I heard footsteps approaching me from the right side. I turned my head to see nothing. I went back to my phone, but the footsteps started again. This continued in a loop for a few minutes. At first I thought it was Ethan going in and out from the back office. But Ethan was sitting in one of the couches out front, scrolling on his phone. I decided to investigate. The path on the right led to the retail shop inside the hotel, and after that it extended to Building 2. I checked the shop and found nothing. I thought of going to Building 2 to check what was happening, but then the phone rang. I walked over I walked over back to the front desk, but the ring had cut by the time I reached. I checked the history to see where it was from, and it said room number 2508. I looked over at Ethan, who was still on his phone. He didn't seem to have heard the ring. I tried calling back to the room, but got no response. A few minutes later, the phone rang again. It was the same room. I picked up. Good morning. You're connected to the front desk. How may I assist you? The words came out by habit. Oh, hey, good morning. Can we get a couple of water bottles to that room? It was a woman's voice. We're in the room. Honey, what room are we in? 2508. Of course, ma'am. We'll send them right away. I hung up the call. I checked the systems to see if there were any guests in 2508. There weren't. I checked the call history again to check the room number to see if I had misread it, but I had not. Still confused, I asked Ethan to man the counter while I delivered the water bottles to the room. Once I reached Building 2, I could see the lights on the fifth floor. I climbed up and rang the doorbell to 2508. A woman opened the door. Thank you very much. I'm sorry to be a bother, she said. It took me a second, but I recognized her. She had stayed in the same room 2 or 3 weeks ago. She had made a similar call then as well. She must have really liked the room. After I got back to the front desk, I checked the systems once again with her name, which I had fished up from last month's reports. Strangely enough, I found nothing. I made a note for the day shift to follow it up and went on with my night. November 7th, 2025. When I came to work for the day, Danny told me that she found no guests in 2508. She worked the afternoon shift that day and had checked the room herself. It was busy that day. I couldn't get a breather until 5 in the morning. And even then, guests started to come check out one by one. At around 5:40, I got a call from 2508 to collect their luggage. I went to the room and rang the doorbell multiple times, only for no one to open the door. I opened the core of my I opened the room with my master key card, and there was no one there. I started for the elevator, but suddenly I heard sounds of footsteps and luggage rolling behind me. I turned around, and for a split second, I swear I could see myself rolling 3 suitcases towards the elevator. I stood there, staring until the ding of the elevator brought me back to my senses. I quickly went down to the golf cart and drove to the lobby. The golf cart was heavy, similar to what had happened a couple of days ago, but it felt much heavier this time. When I reached the front desk, Ethan asked me what was wrong. Apparently, I had been sweating like crazy. Nothing strange happened for the next couple of days, which brings us to today. Today was the Today was probably the weirdest of them all, which is why I decided to write this. November 8th, 2025. It was another slow day. After finishing work, I defaulted back to my favorite pastime, driving the golf cart around. I paid close attention to Building 2, but everything seemed normal. We actually had guests occupying several rooms in the building now, but not on the fifth floor as I was driving through. Ethan called me and told me that a guest had requested a golf cart to Building 8. Building 8 was at the other side of the hotel, but I didn't mind a good drive. When I reached the building, the guests were already at the ground floor waiting for me. They were a sweet old couple who I had helped check on the previous day. I parked and helped them get comfortably seated, then I reversed the car to get back on the path. But I heard a loud thud. I turned around to check, and the old couple had disappeared. I got out of the car to check and realized it was raining heavily. How did I not notice that? Like, I couldn't remember when the rain started, it was just there. I made my way over to the back of the golf cart to see what I'd hit, only to find a child, about 4 years of age, fallen down and passed out. To say I panicked is an understatement. I tried to get myself under control and picked the child up. The rain in my eyes didn't help at all. He was completely passed out, and I didn't see anyone else nearby. I laid him down on the front seat of the golf cart, now completely drenched. I started the golf cart back up. As my foot pressed down on the accelerator, I heard the rain stop, as abrupt as it started. Is everything all right, Mark? I heard a familiar voice from the back. I turned to see the old couple I picked up. I looked to my left, and where there was the boy, there was now no sign of him. It took me a moment to realize that me and the surroundings were now completely dry. Yeah, I thought I hit something, I said, and drove to the front desk. The rest of the night was uneventful. I woke up around 4 in the evening to a call from my girlfriend. She had gotten a job in the same area and was coming over in a week. I am excited about that. Anyways, also saw a notification in the employee group chat about an accident. Apparently, one of the bellmen hit a young boy while reversing the golf cart at the building 3. I clicked on the image to get a better look. It was the same boy I saw last night. That's all for now. I have to eat something and get ready for my shift today. It's been a weird couple of days at work, so now I thought I'd share it somewhere. It's pouring right now, which is a pain in the ass for me. I'm out of water. I have to go buy some more. Anyways, if you know what the hell is going on in my resort, please let me know. I hope I don't have to write another one of these. Edit. It did not stop. Huh. This is somebody commented saying if you're sleepy, you might start having hallucinations. This is my theory. Possible? Yeah, absolutely. Somebody says, do you think there's some sort of fractured, bifurcated time loop? Seems like the timeline is folding back on itself, maybe even crossing over at those points. Be careful. Maybe taking notes of the future line. Document your sanity. Not as if there is anyone to call except maybe CERN, who fucked this all up in the first place. Dude, the second time when the woman actually showed up to take bottles was enough to have my teeth chattering. For some reason, the hotel seemed to be making copies if the guests that way started over. Keep us updated on the spooky hotel. Somebody replied to that saying, looks like time pockets that are in the wrong place, like reliving the past or anticipating the future in small areas. Honestly, I've got no idea about any of that. I would just say, like, some sort of ghost messing with you, or it very well could be hallucinations because you are overly tired. I I don't know if I've ever experienced that. I don't think I have, but I typically do go to sleep before I get to where I'm that tired. So, anyways, that was the r slash no sleep. This will be uploaded as another bonus episode. Again, apologies for not doing my movie review like I said I was. Uh, I fully plan on making that tomorrow and the other two being Thursday and Friday when those are made. So yes. Thank you for watching or listening, I should say. I hope you all have a wonderful day and I will see you next time. Bye bye.